So, guys, it's getting into the second day. Approaching midday at some point soon, right? And it's seeming very busy again, right?
Picking up,
It's
Andy.
picking up
Yeah,
again.
definitely
So, a busy second day is already upon us. And we were talking a lot about learning yesterday. And that seemed to be one of the main prominent topics, learning and talent that were coming into the stands. So I thought we could have this conversation now about learning and from our perspective at MHR, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
So, Ross, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
How are the conversations about learning happening with you over at your stand? What are people talking about?
So look, it's a theme again.
Yeah.
I think it will remain so all day.
Yeah.
And I think content is the most recurring word so far, if that makes any sort of sense. What do I mean by that? People want a way of delivering their content, and we'll talk about what that means in a second, to the people that need to consume it at the right time. So yes, we do still have conversations about people who want to buy something pre-packaged, something from a content supplier, whether that's using things they already own, whether that's buying new content ready to go. But also, we're getting more questions and more conversations about people authoring their own material. So from our world, that could mean things like Easy Generator, where we have the partnership. It could be they already have another content authoring tool within their organisation.
Yep.
But look, I've been working with people in some sectors, take education for example. There's a real pressure on to do more with less. Budgets are reducing or freezing. There's a general election going on in the background. So why on earth wouldn't these organisations want to leverage things like TED Talks, YouTube content? Let's get it in a platform like People First. Let's make it available to people at point of need. And let's have a tool where, you or I could find something really useful online, understand that it helps people in our part of the business, and even push that into the application ourselves so it can be shared out.
So are you saying that we're actually seeing a change in what learning used to be and now what people are wanting to move towards? You mentioned kind of TED Talks and YouTube and a bit more bespoke training, I guess, kind of per customer.
I think that's fair, yeah. I think we're seeing more variety. And I think rather than just focusing on process and following, a learning pathway, look, pathways are important. We're seeing a more flexible approach and more of a desire to go out and grab what's needed and serve it up to the right people at the right time.
Very important.
So you've been talking a lot about LXP today then and yesterday?
Well, it's me, so
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
We are still doing LMS as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Grace is working her socks off with LMS. The rest of us are dipping into it. But again, when we think about this module, we've got all of the benefits that come from empowering and upskilling your workforce. Plus, we've got another module, another reason to drive our users back into People First and make sure they're consuming the whole product. And this is why we do the engagement stuff on there. This is why we have learning in there. This is why we have claims in there. We know how important it is that we don't just deliver a system that is used to view a payslip once a month or to book some leave a few times a year.
Yeah, definitely.
We need people in there all the time.
Yeah, just picking up on a point that you made there. So you talked about engagement. That you're wanting to drive the traffic back into the HR system. It's not just for pay slips, but you also mentioned upskilling and kind of, I guess, the career progression is elements that you're talking about there. How important do you think it is for businesses now to what kind of you referred to at the beginning, which was making the most of what they have?
Yeah, well, important. Those two areas blend without question. Learning blends into performance reviews, check-ins, development. We see organisations where they have real problems to recruit. We talked about this yesterday, kind of briefly. But if I've got employees with a very niche skill set, it's a disaster if I lose them from my business. It's going to cost me a fortune to rehire them. The skills might not be there in the market. I might need to headhunt. We need to make the most of what we have, retain what we have, and identify our stars of the future that need the right guidance and the right pathways in place so that they can turn into these high value contributors that are going to drive forward my organisation.
Yeah, it sounds almost like we're kind of talking now about the employee experience.
It all blends, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This is the blending now that we see of engagement and learning.
Yeah.
We know that performance and learning blends as well. And again, this is why a multi-modular platform, a single source of truth, a one-stop shop, is exactly what we need to be giving as a message to our customers.
So, on that note then, because we'll wrap up, because I know you're very busy and you've got a lot of conversations about learning to be having with
And
a
I
lot
went
of people.
off on a monologue as well.
No, but it's good. It's very good. What are you expecting to hear for the rest of the day then on all things learning?
On all things learning, I think the same as we did yesterday. I think
Yeah.
it will be, how can we tailor what's in this product around what we need? Can I reuse what I've got?
Yeah.
And how do I get new content?
Brilliant. Perfect. Well, if you haven't already spoken to Ross in person, you can do. If not, make sure you're checking out what we're doing at MHR Global with all things learning as well. You can find out a lot more about what we've discussed. Thank you very much, Ross.
Thank you, Ross.
Thanks for having me.